Hello there.
Hey.
Hey, welcome to Command Your Transaction with Docusign point 2.0 or 102 or however you want to describe it. But
The
I have
extras. We'll call it the extras.
the bonus features.
Yes.
Yes. I like the extras. Yeah, so I have the amazing Jody with me today. So hopefully if you guys are watching, you watched the first part of DocuSign and understanding the basics that Clark and I did last week. And so now here we're gonna record this one and show you a little bit about the extra things that you can do in DocuSign to make everything that you're doing there faster, easier, cleaner, more organized is really kind of the gist of our show today. So Jody, thank you so much for doing this with me, and of course being our awesome tech trainer and driver, really. So I think you were going to share your screen and we're going to take a look at my favorite thing of all time, right?
Yeah, so I actually get really excited about DocuSign extras because there are so many cool things that just make your life a little bit easier when you're actually going through your transactions. So this class is always fun for me to teach.
Yes. This is where I nerd out about technology because it's also one of my favorite things. So just before we begin all these extras, I want to remind everybody that's watching, if you have any questions about these extras or anything else DocuSign related, don't forget that your number one resource is answers.kw.com. You can go there at any point in time and type in DocuSign, and it will pull up every single article related to what we're talking about or what we've already taught previously. So where are we going to start with this, Jody? What are we going to focus on first?
So organization is probably the number one thing that I like about DocuSign, especially the way that it ties into Command when you're actually adding documents to your compliance checklist. So once you actually start going through your transaction, you get a lot of documents in there. You're going to put your forms in there. You're going to put your signed PDFs will go in there after you send out for e-signature. You'll have certifications in some cases. So it starts getting really, really bogged down. And there's an easy way to actually adjust that for, like, if you have a listing folder, if you have an under contract folder, you can create those things and move those documents within those folders. So we are looking at Bruce Wayne, my listing right now. And let's just say I want to go ahead and make a listing folder for this. So I'm going to hit actions and then I'm going to hit add folder. And I'm just going to call it, let's call it new listing. Great. And now I have a brand new folder where I can move all my listing documents in there. So I can easily just take this and drag and drop. If I have multiple I want to move, I can select multiple and hit move up here. And it's going to say where you want to move it, a folder in a current room. And then it pulls my new listing in here. And I can hit move. And now those documents are in there, that folder.
I love that. So you made the statement of doing like listing folder, contract folder, that kind of thing. I've also heard of people who they don't like to do it in stages. They like to do it by type of document. So you can do pretty much anything, right, with folders.
Awesome. Absolutely. So, anything you want to name it and move all your documents, whatever documents that you want to move in there, you can do that within DocuSign. One thing I do suggest is I actually don't suggest moving your forms into your folder. So I typically wouldn't move this. I would just leave these in your room docs. And that's just because these static forms or these forms that are fillable, once you send those out for signatures, what it does is it makes a PDF copy of that form, and you can go back and reuse that form if you needed to. So I always leave the forms in the room docs and any signed ones. So typically if I sent this document out for a signature, it would have a green box here that said signed, right? And any signed documents, then I would move that into that folder, and that way I know that those are my completed documents for my compliance checklist. So
I love that. Yeah, I actually have an agent who they like to color code everything. So they don't do it by the transaction steps, but they actually have a folder for the templates. They have a folder for any PDFs they upload. They have a folder for all their signed documents and a folder for all their certifications. So really, truly, the sky is the limit when it comes to what you want to do in terms of your folders and how your brain thinks with working within DocuSign rooms. So I love that.
However you want to organize it, it's totally up to you. The other cool thing is, like, say if I was doing it by the steps, like if I had an under contract
Mhm.
folder and that contract fell through, I can actually just go in there and rename that folder, and I could type in like contract fell through or whatever I want to type in for that new folder and rename it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that you
So
can manage the whole folder at one time.
So that's simple, just a simple organization. And like I said, that actually ties into your command compliance. So when you go back to add those documents to your compliance, you can then select that specific folder that you need to pull those documents from. So you'll choose DocuSign, and then it says, where do you want to pull this from? And you can choose that folder.
Awesome. I love that. So we're talking about inside the room. We can do folders. You can also organize the documents, right? I've heard that you can do some things with getting those organized a certain way. Have you ever done
Yeah.
that before?
Yeah. So are you talking like splitting and editing things?
Well, you
Kind of
can
thing?
do that. I was even thinking about the fact that you can rename them if you really need to.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely. So there are a couple ways to do that. I can right click on this document and it gives me a tool list of things for that specific document. So I have rename, edit, split, move, copy, whatever I need to do with that specific document. So if we want to rename, I hit rename and then it gives me an option to rename that specific document.
I love that. Yeah. So that way, if you get something from like the other side of the deal that's a messy gibberish PDF, you can just name it how you want. Again, back to my one friend that's very OCD. They actually like to see their documents in a specific order, so they'll even put number one, number two, number three in front of the name of the document so that they can see them in a certain order.
Yeah,
So
and
you,
your
yeah,
order, speaking of that, you can change it from name A to Z, Z to A, whatever you want to do from there, just at
I
this.
love that as well. So
Oh.
again, lots of control in terms of inside the room. What about all the rooms? Like, when I'm hopping into DocuSign and I'm quickly heading to a room, if I look at, my whole DocuSign account, I've seen a million rooms because I
Mhm.
do a lot of training on DocuSign. So I have a whole lot of test opportunities all named Jess Weber. How do I deal with this? Because that's so overwhelming if I'm looking for something. It looks like you have
Right.
a lot of Jodies too.
I have a lot of test rooms. Go me. So yeah, so I have agents approach me all the time, like, hey, I'm not using this room anymore. Can I get rid of it? Or, this was a test room. Can I get rid of it? Absolutely. There you can absolutely get rid of it and it won't show up in this room dashboard. It might appear in your dashboard for a little bit until you start going into other rooms. That's just your most recent rooms for that. But when you actually click into the rooms tab, so what I need to do, if I want to get rid of this Jody Cantrell buyer, I can click into it. And then all I have to do, slowly but surely.
Hey, it's always the case when you're sharing your screen. It's not you,
Yes,
it's
it's
screen
doing too
share.
much. It's doing too much. So once you actually get into the room, you can hit actions and then close room. And you have to give it a reason. So I always say you can call it duplicate room. You can really say whatever because chances are there's nobody else looking at this except you. So duplicate room, and then I can just hit submit. And now that will disappear from my rooms category. So I won't see that room anymore within rooms unless I go into my review and close tabs up here and actually reactivate it if I needed to. So it's no longer here.
Awesome. I love that. And just for those of you watching, depending on how your market center runs things, most market centers run compliance through command. So closing a room in DocuSign is not going to do anything. It would just be for your benefit and organization, but it's also not necessary. You can have a million rooms here. I literally, I think I have a million Jess Weber rooms. It's one of those things that they're going to be okay just sitting there, especially because you can organize by last created and things like that. So those old ones will eventually kind of hang out at the bottom of your list.
Yeah.
But Jody, you're exactly right. We get that question all the time as tech trainers.
Yeah.
So
So, if you want to get rid of it and don't want to see it anymore, that's how you go and get rid of that room out of your way. And like you were saying earlier, you can organize these things. So create a newest, create oldest, status. You can do buy side, under contract, however you wanted to do, organize those rooms within your rooms. So
I
That's a
love that.
mouthful.
And the added bonus button that I didn't know was there for a really long time. If you don't like looking at these in terms of tiles, you can also look at them in terms of a list view. I don't know
Yes,
why I never noticed that, but that was like a game changer for me. I was like,
yes.
oh my gosh.
People got
So
really excited when I told them that. There's a couple
I
people.
know.
I like the blocks. I'm a visual person, so I like the blocks myself, but
Yeah.
you can absolutely put, and you can do the same thing within your docs too. So if you don't want to see them as actual documents, you can do
Uh-huh.
it as a line view. So I feel like
Okay.
we just moved around. So
I love that. Okay, so we're talking about documents. I think I heard you say something about managing PDFs specifically. Can we talk about that a little bit?
yes, so let me actually go back to, I don't know which one I'm in, but I'm going to pick one.
You have multiple Bruce Waynes? That's fantastic.
Yes, we're
You're way
buddies.
more
So.
fun than I am. I always do test opportunities with myself or with Jane and John Smith. So
I like to be. We're buddies, so Bruce Wayne has sold a couple listings with me now.
love
The back page. Don't tell anyone though.
it. Okay.
All right. So within this, yes. Okay. So I picked the right one. So if I needed, I don't think this is a document that has multiple, but like if I needed to split a document, I can easily click on this and split. So let's say you have like a seller's disclosure and a lead-based paint that come in from another client within your email. It all is one doc, right? Well, you could upload that document into Docusign and then do split and split them out as separate documents. One thing that I really, really love that Docusign does is you can actually just name this. And then instead of putting the numbers, if you're having to jump around, you can actually just select it and it'll turn it blue. And that's how you know which numbers are going into that specific document.
You mean splitting is that easy? I don't have to like
Exactly.
Google a PDF splitter and then
Nope.
get mad when the PDF splitter asks me to sign in and buy it and all the things.
That's right. It's just that easy. Upload into Docusign, do the split option, and then you can split your documents however you want to split it.
That
So,
is so cool. And what's really great is you can actually use the same page multiple times if you need to for
yes,
some reason.
yes.
So
I have
you could
another
say
document.
pages
I can
one through three, and then you could say pages 3 through 7, and then you could say 4 through 10, and it would actually
absolutely.
reuse those and make those packets in the order in which you list them and name
Yes,
them. So that's
absolutely.
one of the coolest things that I ever just, found out that DocuSign did, because I know that's been a big frustration for a lot of agents where our compliance always wants everything separated. And yet the other side of the deal most often will send you a giant packet of PDFs. And you're like, I don't want to spend time splitting these and uploading these. So now
Yes.
it's like 2 clicks and you're done. So I
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Yeah, and like I said, I really love the fact that you can actually click on the page and it's going to put
Uh-huh.
that number in the box. That's probably one of my favorite things. So, all right, so that's splitting a document. You can
Okay.
do the same thing. So if I had documents that I needed to combine, I can check the box. And then I have this combine button up here, and it lets me create a whole new document, which these are forms, so it's not going to let me do it with the forms itself. But if it were PDFs, I could combine those documents into one single document.
Oh, so you're saying that I could be the annoying agent that combines all the PDFs and send them in one email?
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
awesome. Both ways,
No, so an
y'all.
example like this is like we have agents here that like they'll get the first page of a document signed and they'll just send that one page, but it's typically like a 6-page document, right? Or
Uh-huh.
like you needed to make a correction on it or something like that. So they
Sure.
only sent the one page, but they had sent the whole document previous. Well, you can combine that one page with the previous document, is what that's really, really
Okay.
good for.
I love that. That is really cool.
Yes, I wish I had an oops. Click the back button. This is really touchy. I do
I
that
told
all
you,
the
it's the streaming service. It is not you. No
time.
judgment.
Let me see if I can add a PDF that actually has like multiple pages in there because that
Okay.
one only has one. So let me go back to documents because I did not mean to do that.
No
Only when you're
judgment.
training that you make mistakes.
Uh-huh. It's okay. I was sharing the command app earlier and it made me log in like 3 times so everybody saw my password while I was on Zoom. So, I'm hoping that nobody makes fake opportunities in my account later.
All right, so let me see. I literally have not much on here, but I think this has multiple on here. So other cool thing is I can easily drag and drop documents into DocuSign from my folders on my computer. So that's fun.
That's so cool. Now I noticed it ended up in the room docs, not in the other folder. Is that a default?
Yes, so that's a
Okay.
default. Anytime that you add a new document, it's always going to go into the room docs, and then you just move it to whichever folders that you want to move it to. So that is a
Okay, good to
default, and
know.
no, that will
Good
ever
to
change.
yeah.
All right, so let's move on down and let's just say we want to edit this document. Maybe there's pages that we need to rotate. Maybe there's pages that we need to delete. So if I needed to rotate, I can select this one page and say, okay, I need to rotate it. So I'm going to go like this. And now it's rotating my pages, right? Because sometimes people scan things to you sideways or upside down or however they scan it to you. And it's like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, what am I going to do with this document? Right? So you can actually easily rotate the pages of your documents within Docusign. So
And it
if
looks
I
like
need
you can
to,
do all of them at once. You don't even have to do
yes,
them individually.
yep. So if I select both of them, it will actually rotate both of those pages.
So cool.
Going all the way around the world with that one. If I had a document that had, an extra page in it that I didn't need or something like that, there is this little page down here with an X, and now it's going to delete that page from that specific document where it saves. So it'll save that original document that you uploaded, and what it does is
Okay.
it takes your new document and makes a copy of it. So it'll have like
That's
a box and it'll
fantastic.
say one. So you'll have both versions of that document. It's just this new version won't have that completed. So I'm going to hit save and I'll show you what that looks like.
Docusign just gets cooler and cooler every time I play
Yeah.
with it.
Like I said, it's like one of my favorite thing with all the extra features. So you see here, now I have PC certificate 1
Uh-huh.
and it's just the one page because I deleted
Gotcha.
the other one from it. So like I said, it does make a copy and you can easily do whatever you need to do with that new version of that document.
I love that.
And I'm going to actually go back now that I have two PDFs here and talk about that combine thing because I think I may have confused people with the forms. So if I have PDFs and I need to combine them, I can select the PDFs and hit combine. And now it asks me to rename that document and it'll save it as a new copy with both documents in there. So just wanted
That
to
is
clarify that.
I appreciate that. That is a great thing though.
Yes. So, other things that you can do with these documents, let's see here. Right click again. You can easily create an envelope from here. You can email it to whoever you needed to email it. So if you just wanted to email the PDF to somebody, you can easily send an email. You can make
Mhm.
copies of the document and it'll actually either copy it into a folder in your room or you can actually copy it to a different room within your DocuSign account. You
Oh,
can move your
nice.
documents to another DocuSign room if you wanted to. If you accidentally uploaded a document into the wrong room, you can easily move it over there as well. So,
I
and
think
of
I
course,
do I think I saw you when you said move, and
mhm.
you selected folder, there was the option to move it to a room too.
Yep. So if I hit
That is
move,
awesome.
it says, where do you want to move it? So I can do active rooms and it'll give me all my rooms
So
and I
cool.
can type in the room that I need to actually move that document to and it'll move that document. And the same thing with copy. So if I were to copy, it's
Okay.
going to ask me where I want to copy it and I can choose active rooms and then it'll make a copy in that specific room and you'll have both versions,
That's fantastic.
right?
I love it.
Easy
I'm
peasy.
sorry. Like I told you, it makes me nerd out, but it's like
Yes, yes, it does. You
just
don't have to
things
download
that
things
make your
and
life
re-upload
easier.
it. Yeah, so you just easily move things around.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if I have PDFs that are not on my computer, they're in my email. Is there something that I can do with those to get them in DocuSign easily?
Yes. So everybody, once you have a DocuSign account, you actually each get your own individual DocuSign email. So if you go to your preferences, and I realize I clicked really fast because
Actually,
I'm
you can do it even
recording
faster than doing this too. I'll show you
this.
that.
Yeah,
See,
so
we're all going to learn from each other.
click your name in the corner here and you click
Yep.
preferences. I always tell myself I gotta slow down. Some of these people
Right.
don't know these things, right? All right, and then from here you have inbox details. And the other great thing is it's probably going to give you your name and then a bunch of numbers. You can actually just type in this and say whatever you want it to be. So my email address for DocuSign is jody.cantrell@mail.docusign.net. So this stays standard. You can't change this, but you can change the beginning part of it as well. And then I would just hit save changes. And now I have an email address specifically for DocuSign. So
Yeah.
if I
And
go
if you
into
want to see it quickly and easily, you can actually hit the inbox button at the top of your page. I don't
my,
know if you know this, and you can just copy and paste it out of there anytime you need it. So if you
yep,
have forgotten it, you don't have to go through all the steps of your preferences. You can just hit inbox and grab it from
Absolutely. But I'll even go further than that, as I
there.
always tell
Snap.
agents, just add it as a contact into your email account, and you can type that person in your composed email, and it'll be there, and you don't have to copy and paste.
Excuse me, Jody. We're focused on Docusign, not email tips. No. I love that.
Yeah, so I always say just save it as if it were a contact in your email, so you don't have to do that. And then from there, if you have emails that you need to forward, little helpful tip, there is a couple of different ways to do it. So if I just forwarded an email to that specific DocuSign email, that's going to be in my inbox here. So you have a document within your inbox, and then you can go and move it to whatever room that you want to move it to, right?
Right.
But if you want to go even further than that and mail it to a specific room, what am I doing, Bruce? When you are forwarding your email or composing an email with a document in it, if you take this ID number with the number sign, pound sign, hashtag, whatever you want to call it, whatever your generation calls it, and put that as the subject line, what it will then do is it will know that that specific document needs to go to that specific transaction room. So when you go back into your documents, you will have that email document within your documents tab of that room.
So you're saying that if I have an attached PDF to an email, I can just forward that directly to that email address, throw the ID number in the subject line, and it automatically uploads the PDF on my behalf?
Yes.
That is so cool. No more download and upload, man. I clean out my download folder every week, and it's ridiculous. So this is
yes. So if you want it to make it super, super easy, don't forget that step of putting that ID number in there, and then it'll go specifically to that room. If you don't put the ID number and just send it to your DocuSign email address, it just goes into your inbox. So
okay. So the ID number gets it to the room for me on my behalf. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Isn't
what
that great?
about if I have an email that I want to save as a PDF? Have you ever done that one before?
I have not. I know how to do it. But now you're just throwing me off my game, Jess, here.
I'm so sorry that we didn't pregame this one. Okay, so it's the same steps. You need your email address for DocuSign. You need your DocuSign ID number. But if you go to your email inbox and say you have an email from your client that's agreeing to a price drop or something like that that you want to save as a record, after you put the # hashtag number for the ID in the subject line, if you put # hashtag PDF in there, everything in the body of that email that you're forwarding will become a new PDF inside your room.
That's amazing.
It's so cool. So yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I told you this is like I don't get excited about a lot of things, but this is one of those things where I'm like, it just saves you so much time because I'm used to people going, oh well, I printed that email to PDF, but it looked all funky, and then I had to download that, and then I had to upload it. And no, you can literally turn an email into a PDF inside your DocuSign room with just the ID number and then hashtag PDF all in the subject line with a space in between them. So it's the same exact concept, just one level higher than what you're already doing with an attached PDF.
That's great. And like I said, I've heard that before, but I've never done it. So thank you for teaching me that.
You're so welcome.
And now I can spread the knowledge.
Yes. Let's continue to grow people's obsession with DocuSign, and let's get rid of that awful e-signature program that we don't speak of here.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the loop dot thing or whatever. Yeah. So
all right. So that's how you get those things from your inbox or your email into your inbox or into your specific DocuSign room. Easy peasy, right?
Yes, I love that. And then the final thing that I wanted to make sure that we covered today is filling in those templates that we have in all of our rooms with some stuff that we can autofill. So could you show us what a static form is and how it works?
Absolutely. So typically on your buyer's agencies, maybe your residential contracts or any other contracts, you're probably going to have the same information that you fill over and over and over again. License number, market center name, things like that, right? Well, if you want to save yourself some time, you can actually come in here and do form templates. And then you easily apply those templates within your transaction rooms. But I can come in here and make whatever form template that I need to make. So you see I've made a couple here by hitting create form template. And if you have access to your state forms or your office forms, you should be able to pull from those libraries. And I don't actually have access to a Missouri form, so I'm going to do our office forms here. And let's just say I had information on this rental application that I fill out over and over and over again, right? So I can hit use on that. And it's going to bring up that form for me to fill out. And then I can come in here and punch in that information that I might need to fill out every single time. So, of course, this is not a great example, but like I said, I don't have access to Missouri things. So if I had
yeah, no, I know. I was going to say, I know my agents use it on the residential sales contract all the time because they have to put in the office, their license number, the office license number, the broker name, all that kind of stuff. And nobody wants to memorize their license numbers. So it's really nice because you can type it in and then it just auto applies it to every contract that you pull into a room henceforth and forevermore. But the other reason I really love this is if you're working with a team, you can actually have a team template for each individual person on the team. So if you have John Smith and Jane Smith each writing contracts, then their transaction coordinator can pull a John Smith contract or a Jane Smith contract and autofill all the stuff for that individual straight from their account.
Yeah,
So
there's no limit to how many forms that you can create for the same form. So that's really
I know
really
that is like my favorite thing ever. Or if you do something different for residential versus new construction, you can save those templates there as well. So these static forms, can we show them what one looks like in a room really fast? Because
Yeah,
it's
so
literally
I'm gonna
just
do
a
this
click or
example.
two.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I'm going to
perfect.
do this example here. So I'm just going to put Joplin, Missouri as my static form template. And one other thing is you can rename your templates like here. So if you had multiple for the same form, I can come in here and name it form A, and then make sure that you always hit the green check mark or it will not save, and then hit save and close. So now I have a new template for that specific form. So if I go back to my rooms,
Gotta find Bruce Wayne again.
I gotta find Bruce. He's now doing a rental. I feel like we should be singing the Batman theme. Na 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 na.
There you go.
All right, so when I go to add that specific form, Docusign forms, of course, I'll find that library. And then, so I just did a rental application, right? So when I select it, I'll see this drop down menu over here pop up, and then it's going to ask me if I want to apply my form template. So I can select that. I can hit add selected. And when I go into that specific form, that little bit of information that I added at the bottom should now be there for me.
I love this. So you can create the template, you can use the template, but you're not forced into the template. That's huge too. If something comes up, I'm not sitting there hitting backspace or delete on everything as well.
Yes. So. The other great thing that it works with is any details that you have in your opportunity details / Docusign details, it will actually work in what's the word I'm trying to congruence
in
here.
Conjunction with, yeah.
Yes, with that form template and those details that you have. So there's probably not a lot of information that you'll have to fill out after, doing the autofill and the form template.
That is so cool. So, I've got a buyer's agent in my office that between the tips that we've shown today and just practicing, he said he's shaved about 20 minutes off his contract writing time for his buyers. Just because of learning this and think about it. He works with roughly 50 buyers a year right now. So think about how many minutes he has saved over the course of a year just by utilizing some of these tips and tricks.
Yes.
So,
So yeah, and there now he can go work with even more buyers because he's saving so much time.
right.
If you forget to apply the template when you first add the document, all you have to do is right click on that document and then it'll say apply form template. And then you can go back and select that template that you want to put in
Oh, nice.
the document. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, I forgot to add my template at the beginning and now I have to delete it. Just hit right click and hit apply form template. So
Awesome. Well, Jody, thank you so much for joining me today and for, sharing your, transaction with Bruce Wayne and all these awesome tips and tricks. I really appreciate your time. And for anybody watching, if you guys have any questions, again, always remember that you have an MCTT in your office to reach out to. You are welcome to ask questions of the page and our amazing regional tech trainer, Clark Kendall. So thanks for watching, and I'll let you guys go. Have a good one.
bye.
Bye.